dear esteemed panelists, and the esteemed audience as well. Actually, I would like to thank Economic Times for bringing out this compendium. Of course, I have not seen it, but I presume what is there. They told me that there are 27 companies which are doing good. Today, the NGO sector is more than 1 million strong. People ask me, is everybody getting this CSR money? The answer is no. Because a few days ago, the Economic Times itself brought out an article which said only top companies spent only 4,000 crores. So Mr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, of course, who's been behind creating this whole, you can call the CSR movement, and Section 135, has initially said that there will be 25,000 crores. Of course, I would say Bhaskar Chatterjee has been optimistic and Economic Times has been pessimistic. So that is the situation in it. And I would say it does not go to the bulk of the sector. Maybe it may be touching 5% of the sector or even less than that. So that is the first point. The second point is the basic principle of corporate social responsibility, you heard from T.K. Arun, is that if you cannot do any good, you should do no harm. It is based on the principle of no harm. But what has happened is, at the same time the corporate social responsibility was being put on the nation, the President of India released something called the NVG, which is the National Voluntary Guidelines for the top 100 companies. Listed on SEBI, had to report on what they do in terms of CSR within their own companies. And a group of NGOs, which includes Praxis, BCF, and my organization Helpage, analyzed these 100 companies. And one principle Arun said is the stakeholder engagement. When we looked at stakeholder engagement, 40% of the companies had a principle or a policy for stakeholder engagement. But how many practiced it? Less than 10% practiced stakeholder engagement. So what has happened is the whole CSR is being built up on a wrong premise. We in the NGO sector feel that in any design of a social program, people should be placed at the center of the program. And what has happened in corporate social responsibility is the company has been placed in the center of development. So I go to many companies, and I would say the public sector is a little better than the private sector, because in the private sector I get a host of CSR managers telling us what to do. And we have been in this business for the last 40 years, and people tell us, you can do development like this, you can do development like this, and it is not at all in tune with the aspirations of the people who are at the base of it. That is one part of the second part of it is most companies give CSR money as reimbursement. So how do you expect an NGO with a small resource base to collect money on reimbursement? So this is another problem. And of course, third problem is probably the tax practice person would engage is many charge us service tax, some deduct tax at source, some demand from us, give us 100% tax exemption. We say, no, 100% tax exemption is not for these kind of areas. We can only give you ATG, and still companies insist. So there's a whole lot of coercion, you can say, by companies to get these tax benefits and also to impose various TDS and service tax on the NGO sector. And the CSR debate across the country, which we NGOs are working in, has become the issues of water, forests, and land. Of course, you heard from Mr. Pillai that in some places, even Mr. Arun said, land has been taken away by the people. And the company in turn comes with a little CSR to do it. In many places, when we worked on certain CSR projects of certain steel companies, my staff were manhandled. They said, you are a good NGO, but don't join with this company because this company has taken away our land, this company has taken away our water. So companies are not like Steel Authority of India, which works on a mine 10 years before they get into it. People want to get in and want to exploit the resources overnight. This doesn't work. So on one hand you do CSR, on the other hand you practice, I would say, bad business responsibility. So bad business responsibility causes harm to the people, and CSR will not compensate it. At best, this CSR money will be only band-aid for the people and will not lead to transformation as the minister was talking about. So this is where we have to look whether the CSR law will feed the hungry millions, provide education, provide pensions for the elderly, which is where we work in. Can we do this, or will we continue to give small amounts of money as CSR while the rest of the people are being continuously harmed by bad business practices? So I argue that we should be fighting for business responsibility and not corporate social responsibility. If all companies can follow the national voluntary guidelines, that this will make India much better than the corporate social responsibility. And today it's 4,000 crores. Tomorrow, of course, with the growth of corporate foundations, they may be doing good work, but actually it is transferring money from one side of the, for the balance sheet to another side. So you give a donation to your own foundation, so you transfer money from one side to another side. So which is actually what I call as a tax shelter and not as a real CSR. So I think we should ponder on these areas and see whether in the future we can do really good CSR and improve this country. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.